Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. Coming up on the show today, episode 761. Let me tell you who's on. We have got a big voice. The big Polynesian singer is coming in. Stay tuned for that one. Talking entertainment with Alexander Sacosta today. Talking customer service. Chris Smoy is back from overseas. We're also talking about buying cars with the Department of Consumer Protection. We talked to them. Jenny Hoop is coming in. She's got a charity event where she does a bit of hula hooping. We'll do that today. Bitchin is in with Ted, Michaela and Nat Foster. So I hope you can stay with us. It is a big show. 761 starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can watch it from your house. It's showtime on the couch. With Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Oh, it's showtime on the couch.
Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. Welcome to the next hour of programming here on Foxtel, of course, and on C31 and C44 around Australia as well. And on YouTube and Facebook. If you want to be part of the couch, please contact us through our website, of course, thecouch.com.au. Let me know if you want to come on as a guest or maybe as a performer. If you've got a great act, we'd love to talk to you. Let's get the show started. A man that's a great act in himself. It is, of course, Alexander Sacosta. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Fred, for saying I'm a great actor.
Well, I didn't know that. You're very genuine, very
I'm very
real.
humble. I'm very humble.
I tell you what, man of many hats. One day you're at the cinema promoting movies,
Yes.
next you're at Channel 7 promoting events, and then
Yes.
you work with Telethon,
Yes.
and you do comedy as well,
Oh, why not?
and you do the couch.
Oh, the quadrifecta, as they call it.
Or it could be just living in Perth. I think that's the thing. We're able to do a lot of things. But welcome back.
Thank you very much. Happy to be back.
You've got some amazing stories. What's
Yes.
happening with
All
Joe
right.
Jones?
The big story that's broken all of Hollywood is obviously the divorce that no one kind of saw coming because they're very private with their lives. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner, Game of Thrones. Joe Jonas, Camp
Have
Rock.
they been married long?
Not too
How many
long.
days?
Well, I think it's over, was it 7 years?
Is that
Not too
all?
long
Oh,
because
that's not bad.
they had two children. She was very young when they got married. She was only 23. He's now she's 28. He's 34. So there was a
Okay.
bit of an age difference. So they're kind of at different stages of their
And
life.
what's happened?
Well, they've gotten divorced. So they announced the divorce across their public and social media feeds, and there
It's a
they are
shame.
there. So he was part of the Jonas Brothers, who are on
Yeah.
their big tour at the moment. He has the two children with him. She's shooting a movie in London. And
Busy lifestyles.
I think it's very hard for actors and performers to have that stable home life for the children and even for themselves.
You always wonder whether they've always got the hired help that look after the kids.
Definitely. There's no way you would be able to take care. One of them's only 1 year old.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
I look at people like Harry and Meghan,
Yeah.
and you wonder who the hell looks after the kids. So they've obviously got a nanny that looks, or a male
Nanny or
whatever
two
you
or
call
three
it.
or four.
And it must be a hard thing to when you're a performer. You're constantly making movies, or if you're both
Exactly.
actors, it'd be a very hard thing. So look, we wish them all the best.
Well, yeah, it's always hard, but I mean, it kind of no one saw it coming. But in Hollywood, a divorce it's news, but it's almost like every day. Who's next? There was Sofia Vergara a month ago. Now the
Exactly.
Jonas.
Hey, Tracy Grimshaw's coming back to Channel 9 now. I could have told you this.
Yeah, so I want to know what it is because at the upfronts they were saying that she's coming back and they put this very mysterious photo of her at a news desk, and we know she made this big announcement. There she is, saying that she was leaving a current affair, and it was this huge thing. And we're like, okay, I guess we're not going to see her on our
Look,
screens.
from what I believe, 9 values Tracy, and so they should. She's an
100%.
amazing performer. She's been with us for many, many years.
Huge talent.
I have a feeling you may see her on 60 Minutes
Really
doing some special reports.
interesting.
I think she's been on there before.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
came from there to do the Today Show.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go back to where they started. And these days, Tracy's she's more experienced. She's a wiser
100%.
person. She's been around
Lots
a
of
long time.
wisdom.
And I think a little bit of travel around the world wouldn't be a bad thing. So I can imagine that she would do something like 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
As like Carl does, Carl Stefanovic.
Yeah.
But probably all of his travel allowance is gone now if Tracy's coming.
Tracy.
So I can imagine she'd be on that.
Well, I'm thinking reality show. Why not?
Yeah,
Life with
maybe
Trey.
something completely different.
Go
Maybe
completely left field.
Maybe, but I
Cooking
think-
show.
No. Look, I think there's 2 things she's interested in, and that's a private life. She loves her news, but she
Okay.
also loves
I'm hearing
horses.
this. I'm hearing this.
She loves horses. Maybe the Melbourne Cup, but that's on 10.
Oh, well, they can buy it. That's fine.
never
If
know.
Tracy wants it, we'll get it.
Well, Bruce McAvaney worked on 10 for a while and also at 7 at the same time, so you never know.
Anything's possible.
So-
So I'm looking forward to seeing where she ends up.
I reckon that will be where we think she's going. Now, what's happening
All
with
right, so-
Kamal?
Kamal Nanjiani is
Yeah, I'm
an
glad
actor.
you pronounced the second name.
Yeah, he's an actor who was in Marvel's The Eternals, and he went on his Twitter. So that's Adventure Time, a series. He was one of the voice actors, appeared in 6 episodes, voicing one of the characters. When they came back for one of the new series, they apparently didn't ask him to voice the character again. So he went public saying, "Oh, why wasn't I asked? I would have loved to have come back. They just didn't ask me," and sort of put it on blast. Adam Muto, who's the showrunner, then responded saying, "We did ask you. We contacted your help multiple times. Your agents clearly must not have passed on the message." So it's kind of that thing that people use X, formerly Twitter, to go public with kind of like, to
Gripes.
put someone on blast.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you really have to be so careful because in one way, when he first did it, people were like, yeah, they should have asked him, everyone's behind him. And then how quickly the narrative shifted once the actual truth came out. And now it's more like he was being quite ungrateful and very out of touch that he didn't even realise he'd been asked
Look,
to come back.
I know many years ago, a radio announcer once put something out on Facebook back then, or I think it was called Facebook,
Yes.
and management saw it, and he wasn't there much longer after that. And you have to really be careful before you've got to get the full story
Yes.
before you publicise something to the contrary. I think otherwise you embarrass your employer.
Well,
You
yeah, and
won't be there
it
much
can all
longer.
happen within one bad tweet, one
And it
bad
could
post.
just be an accident
And it
or
could be
not
an
intentional
accident or
either, so-
unintentional. You're right, and that's why the internet is such a minefield when it comes to media as well.
Now, someone that knows the media very well is
Oh.
Kanye West.
He
What's
just
happening
knows
with
how to
him?
get attention in the press. He just knows. He is a savant when it comes to getting
He's
attention.
good at it, isn't he?
Just shows up at a wedding. Why not? Kanye West showed up at a wedding, goes viral on the internet. Of course it would. There he is, dressed in his way that he dresses,
Yep.
very stylish, avant-garde. Showed up at a wedding in Italy, of all places. It's like he could show up anywhere.
Well, he
wherever
probably
you
can.
are.
He'd get away with it.
Is he here right now?
No, he was here earlier on this morning. He
I
said, I
missed him
cannot
again."
be seen in the same room. Because the rumours that you and him are the same person.
I have heard that, yes, I have, yes.
There
and
was
I
some
perpetuated
similarity
it.
there. No, look, he's one of those performers, like you said, he can get away with whatever he wants, really.
It's amazing because really he manages to get the attention.
Anyway, what's happening with Mary Poppins? I know we're
Mary
going to see this
Poppins
very
is
soon.
here, Fred, at the Crown. It's finally made its way to Perth. A strictly limited season, so
Yeah.
make sure to get
Now,
tickets, everyone.
Can I say I'm so glad to see Paddy Newton playing
Patty
a role in
Newton
this?
playing the bird lady in Mary Poppins. Very famous scene. There they all are. So we have Stephanie and we have Jack. So Stephanie Jones and Jack Chambers are Mary Poppins and Bert. Obviously, it's got all the songs from the movie, but for those who haven't seen the musical before, it's got more. It kind of fleshes out the story a little bit more based off the famous character.
How long
from
is
P.L.
it running
Travers.
for, do we know?
I think it's only 6 weeks, so
So
you've got to
is
get
this
in
the
fast.
last run?
I
Perth is
believe
the
we
last
might be
day?
the
Yeah.
last stop, but anything's possible with musicals. You never know.
It will be a fantastic musical.
Oh,
I mean, look,
100%.
I have not seen Mary Poppins from even the movie for about 20 years, I think.
classic.
So it will be classic. Great music, great entertainment, great theatre. At Burswood,
The Crown Theatre. Get your tickets now. I think they opened yesterday.
Well done. What's hot and what's not?
What's hot? I'm saying musicals are hot because having seen a few over the past couple of months, musicals are hot in Perth and we're so lucky to have so many one after the other. So we've got Mary Poppins here now. I went and saw All Shook Up there as well. Rocky Horror was there. We got Chicago coming.
There's
Now is the
lots.
time for musicals. Musicals are hot, everyone.
Well, thank you very much. If it comes from you, we know it must be the truth. Thank you very much. Alexander Sikosta, if people want more information, or maybe you'd like to hire him in that 3-minute spare that he's got a week, there's his website, alexandersikosta.com. He does lots of presenting, emceeing, and promoting products as well, which is great as well.
All over.
Good on you, Alexander.
Thank you,
We
Fred.
may see you next week, actually.
Oh, looking
so
forward
you never
to
know.
it. Anything's possible. I'm like Kanye West.
Yeah, there you go. As long as you bring nice gifts, I think I'll be happy. Music-wise, we've got the big Polynesian singer Jacob Hema performing for us now centre stage. Please make him welcome as he performs.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded a plane. Locked down in the land of Delta blues in the middle of the pouring rain. WC Handy, won't you watching over me? Got a first class ticket, and I'm as blue as a boy can be. And I'm walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet over Bill. And I'm walking in Memphis. Do you really feel the way I feel? So the ghost of Elvis out on Union Avenue, watched him walk up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now, security did not see him. They just hovered round his tomb. There's a pretty little thing she's offering him, coffee and tea down in the jungle room. And I'm walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet over Bill. And I'm walking in Memphis. Do you really feel the way I feel? They got catfish on the table. They got gospel in the air. Reverend Green, glad to see you. When you haven't got a prayer, you got a prayer in Memphis. Now, Miro plays piano every Friday at Hollywood, and they asked me to go down to see her, and they asked me if I would do a little number, and I sing with all my might. She said, "Son, you a Christian child?" I said, "Ma'am, I am tonight, and I'm walking in Memphis." Put on my blue suede shoes, and I boarded a plane. Locked down in the land of the Delta blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. Locked down in the land of the Delta blues, in the middle of the pouring rain.
There you go. What a wonderful singer he is, of course, Jacob. He'll be back at the end of the show with another wonderful song, so stay tuned. The man who has been away in Croatia, travelling, promoting this all-in culture book while he's in Croatia, he's back in the studio today. Let me welcome him, and also Nisha Seth to talk to him. Over to you, Nisha.
Thank you so much, Fred. And welcome back, Chris. We've definitely missed you as our resident customer service expert.
Thanks, Nisha. I've missed you too. It's been, at the time of recording, 4 months that I haven't been on the program. So it's really good to be back. And to everybody, hey, I'm back.
We're all jealous because you're so nice and tan still.
Look, it's the beauty about missing winter. That's what we effectively did. But we had a great break. We just went to Croatia, where where all of my grandparents are from. So it was really nice just to take the kids for the first time, to let them reconnect with, or to introduce them to many family and friends, and just spend some time relaxing and bonding with them, and probably secretly as well admiring the culture of service over there as well. I guess that's the thing, you can't really switch off sometimes in terms of looking at service. So I was definitely online, and I was still working, and the wheels in the brain were ticking while I was away, for sure.
Well, we definitely know you, Chris. We know you work all the time. And I guess this is a question that is coming for a long time. But when we think about that customers have been around for absolutely centuries, why is customer service still important now?
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you start thinking about global cultures of service. I mean, customers have been around for 2,000 years. They have on record that they've been around for that long. And interestingly, if we think about the more recent sort of times, it was about 1868 when the world's first money-back guarantee was invented. Now, that sort of signalled, post-industrial revolution, the start of we better take care of our customers. But even more recently now, I think when we think about how service is different today, or why it's become a big thing, is not so much because of the topic of service, it's actually because of service leaders. So we might have spoken about this before, but there are some key leaders. It all started off with Walt Disney, but in more recent times, you've got your Steve Jobs from Apple, your Jeff Bezos from Amazon, and those leaders are the ones that literally through their leadership style, their service focus, have taken their organisations, upwards because of their unrelenting commitment to service. So that's sort of what's created the buzz at the moment about service.
Yeah, and we know that you are really dynamic and you stay really connected to everything happening, not just in Perth, but around the world in your recent trip. But how has the current climate service, culture impacted you in terms of your service?
Well, that's a really good point. So in the past, I used to deliver customer service training, which, throughout the 1980s and 1990s became a little bit mundane. It had been there for quite a while. Whereas now where I base most of my research and analysis is on, well, what are some of these very few but massive global organisations doing with their service and service culture and their leadership? And if we can look at, taking that back a bit, what are some of the common themes? What are they doing that creates that success? And if we can capture the essence of that and share that with some of the other organisations that I work with that don't have a leader like Steve Jobs, unfortunately, right? But if we can share that with them, perhaps they can too accelerate their journey to service excellence.
Yeah, look, that's wonderful. And I think part of that being connected, as you've mentioned earlier, is service being used as a competitive edge. How do organisations do this, especially if they have, maybe not a, Jeff Bezos or a leader of that degree?
I think we're well and truly aware that product or competing on product is very hard at the moment. I mean, just imagine if an organisation stole a blueprint or a map or a plan, they could reproduce the same product. So we know that product competition is very tight. So we're always talking about the war on competing for customers. And the only competitive advantage that businesses have, and by the way, every single business has this competitive advantage already. They have their staff. That is because they're unique, so their own staff. You can't copy them, you can't duplicate them anywhere else, and you can't also mimic the way that they nurture their staff internally. So for instance, if you could steal the team handbook of another company, although a lot of what I talk about shouldn't even be in the team handbook anyway, because it's the stuff that you can't capture. That is what is service excellence. But if someone stole a team handbook and tried to plagiarise it in another company, they would not get the same effect because they don't have those same people and the same culture of nurture inside the business.
So the mirror in is slightly like the mirror out, right? So it's not just competition with customers, it's also the competition for staff to be in your team.
Exactly right. So we always talk about, we've got to compete to get our customers, but the same thing, the organisations that have a great service culture, they attract the right staff
What
members.
do you think about Virgin?
Well, that's the thing. Any business that, they have the figureheads, and Richard Branson was probably another one that I didn't mention before. They have these figureheads in place that become globally famous because of the way that they serve their customers, because of the environment. And why I say the environment links to serving customers well is because if everybody is united around this purpose, that we're here to serve, we're here to do X, Y, Z with our customers, that's what brings everybody together. It's not just we get subsidised gym membership and things like that. So by having a great culture, you're actually stopping other organisations with a better culture from poaching staff. And that's the great thing, just like the house of our dreams is never on the market, the top staff member's never going to be the one looking for a job. So, if you've got a company with a great culture, it's going to be very hard to allow other cultures or companies with a lesser culture attack and steal or poach staff.
Yeah, and so what we're talking through here, it's nearly like osmosis, but tell us about the ripple effect of excellent customer service.
Well, so here's the thing. So you've got, customers are happy. We've talked about that. The staff that work in an organisation, we've talked about that too. What about when, you're at work, you work for a great company. It's kind of like being a guest on the couch, right? You're all here committed to guests and things like that. Just think about what mood that leaves you in when you come home. So that's the key thing. Yes. So you bring the positivity after spending a day serving customers, you bring that positivity back home. So your family and friends who are around you, they actually benefit. Yes. Even customers who observe great service benefit. When you see someone treated the right way, it makes you feel good. And I think just overall, the world sees companies that aren't just about profits, that companies that are a lot more doing good in the world. And I think that's what we all love to feed off. So this ripple effect on service is not just limited to the person being served. It goes far and wide.
And Chris, that's why you're such an expert in this area. You clearly look at it as people and planet, like flourishing world. You're looking at customer service in the greater whole, right? Not just its singular form.
I firmly believe it starts with service. Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming back on the couch. Our resident customer service expert is back on the couch and we're very excited. Where to next for you?
Can't wait. Well, we're going to be on the couch for a couple more episodes as the year comes to a close. Yes. We're already talking about that. But if you do want to reach out and talk to me about, you can even talk to me about my trip and I can show you some photos. Just kidding. If you want to talk about all things service, you can definitely get in touch and send me an email, chris@chrissmoyer.com. And also chrissmoyer.com is my website as well. So.
Always a pleasure, Chris. And of course, if you've missed any of that, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page and you'll find all the links to Chris's website there as well. But we'll see you very soon.
See you soon.
Thank you. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nish, and thank you to Chris as well. I do hope that in the next few weeks, I'd love to ask Chris about the Qantas customer service, the change there, but we will touch that one. I'll give you some extra time in a couple of weeks' time. We'll take a break. Coming up, we're going to talk to Consumer Protection about buying cars and some hints on how you can avoid being ripped off and getting a good car. We'll do that after the break. See you then. Welcome back to the couch. Nice to have your company. We're doing Consumer Watch with the WA Department of Consumer Protection. Today we're talking to Owen Kelly. He's the Director of Retail and Services at the Department of Consumer Affairs here in Perth. Welcome, Owen.
Thank you very much for having me on.
It is nice to have you on. This is your first appearance on the couch.
It is, yes.
And today we're talking about car buying tips and what we should look out for.
That's right.
So welcome to the show. Let's get straight into it. Tell us a little bit about warnings that we need to hear about car dealers.
Yeah, right. Look, buying a car, obviously, it's exciting. It's daunting. It's all those things, put together. And really, we want to make sure that when people are buying a car, it's going to be one of the biggest things they ever buy, that they don't get taken for a ride and they get something that's going to last them and be good value. So from time to time, we'll issue warnings about dealerships that are out there that are maybe not doing quite the right thing. And
What sort of
yeah.
things are they doing at the moment? What are some of the examples you can give us that we need to be aware of?
Okay, so one of the ones that we named very recently, Ventura Autos. So they weren't really engaging in terms of our conciliation process, so when they've had complaints raised with consumer protection, but also when we go there and we do our own inspections of vehicles, we find problems. So it might be dodgy tyres, might be cracked windscreens, those sorts of things that really make a car unroadworthy.
Okay, tell us about the dealer checklist. Now, I've got it here in front of me. We can get that online as well.
Excellent, thank you. Look, it's a great resource. So we only launched it a few weeks ago. What it's all about there is just taking a car buyer through the process of the things they need to think about when they're buying a car. As I say, it's an emotional process. It's exciting. There's all these different options. You've got to think about your budget and all those things. And the car buyer's checklist really just steps you through some of the key things. So one of the main things on there, the very first thing is to do a PPSR check. Now, a PPSR is Personal Properties Security Register.
Is that to make sure that nobody has any incumbents on the vehicle?
Absolutely. So it'll tell you if it's a repairable write-off, it'll tell you if it's a stolen car, or if there's any finance owing. Now,
so should you ever buy a car that has finance? So logically, I would say no. If somebody else owns the car or has some sort of ownership on the car, stay away from it.
But basically, yeah, because if you buy that car, you're potentially buying that finance that's owed on it as well. So that sets you up a little bit. But I was actually having a look before I came in here today. You got to make sure you go to the right website for the PPSR check because it only costs you $2.
It's cheap.
It's very cheap.
It's worth the investment.
But you've got to go to ppsr.gov.au.
Yep.
If you go to ppsr.com.au, for example, or something similar like that, you might be up for a whole lot more than just $2 for exactly the same certificate.
And what can I ask as an example? If someone was to buy a car and they don't do a check, and the car does have a bank that owns the car or has some sort of incumbents on the vehicle, what can happen to those people?
Well, fundamentally, I guess you just end up potentially having to pay back someone else's loan or something like that, or you might lose the car altogether. All things you don't want to have happen, of course.
All right. Well, tell us some of the issues when buying privately, because I know new cars, sometimes you've got more the rules are completely different. You're buying a brand new item, you've got the 7-year, 10-year warranty, but what are some of the pitfalls when buying a private vehicle?
Okay, so even with a second-hand car that you get through a dealership, for example, you still get some of those warranties and Australian consumer law will apply and that'll give you some protections. But if you're buying privately, so we know that about 70% of used cars out there are bought privately rather than through a dealership. So these are through online classifieds and things like that. Basically, you're on your own. If something goes wrong, the Australian consumer law doesn't protect you. So you've got to really make sure you do your checks and your balances, get a mechanical inspection, and make sure that you don't end up with a lemon.
Now, scammers are there in everything we do. How are they involved when buying a car privately? What do we need to be careful of scammers?
Okay, well, one of the things that really emerged over the last few years where, car prices really went up, we saw a shortage of cars, so the used car market went up. People were getting a little bit more desperate. People were having to buy things quickly. So we saw the scammers saw an opportunity, started selling cars that didn't exist. So you'd put down a deposit for something, you'd pay your money for a car that you haven't seen but it looks really good online, but it never exists. So that's something we'd really encourage people to, if you're buying privately, get a PPSR check, get a mechanical check, and make sure you check out the vehicle in person.
And exactly, vehicles can be one of the most expensive purchases, especially with the young. They might spend $15,000, $20,000 on a second-hand car these days. So the last thing you want to do is be scammed and not get the vehicle and lose the money at the same time. I know a few years ago there were scams where people on different Gumtree and things like that, they were offering you more than what the car was worth, and then they were asking you to pay for the courier to pick up the vehicle, but all they wanted was that $2,500 for the courier, and then they didn't even want the car. Once they had the money, you never heard from them again.
You'd never hear from them again.
And is that still going on, those sort of scams?
Look, absolutely. We see those kinds of scams all the time on social media. And again, we just encourage people to be really cautious when you're buying something like that. Make sure you're buying it in person.
Now, the state government has announced some reforms when it comes to repairable write-offs.
That's right.
How are they changed?
Okay, so a repairable write-off is where a car's been involved in some kind of damage or something, and it's not worth the money to try and fix it. For your insurance company, for example. So it gets sold off, but then someone else comes along and fixes it because it's a repairable write-off, The risk with that is if you buy it and you don't know that it's a repairable write-off, you might find you're paying $10,000 for a car which, 6 months later is maybe only worth $2,000.
And they don't have to tell you.
They don't, absolutely not. That's been the case in the past, but that's all
Wow.
changing now. So these are the reforms that are coming through. If you buy something through for a dealership, a dealer will have to tell you straight up if it's a repairable write-off. You don't have to ask.
Fantastic, actually. Those reforms will be. When will they be coming in or out?
Okay, so they're being drafted at the moment, so we're not sure exactly when it's going to come in, but they're being drafted.
So
drafted
keep an
now.
eye out on the website, Consumer Protection website.
Definitely.
Now, have you got some other advice for people buying vehicles at the moment? I mean, I noticed on a couple of news stories a couple of days ago, I noticed that the used car market are getting cheaper again. The cars are going down in price. Are people now getting new cars straight away? Are stocks now available?
Stock's improving. Some cars will be available straight away. A lot of them, there's still a bit of a wait time, but certainly the wait times that we're seeing through the peak of COVID, potentially years in some cases, seems to be abating a little bit. So that's good. But our tips for consumers is go through that checklist. That checklist will tell you everything you need to know.
And you'll be able to get that from the website
Absolutely.
as well. Which will
So
give the details
consumer
a moment.
protection and yeah.
Just to recap, to do that search online
Yes.
to make sure that the vehicle's free of any incumbents.
That's right.
That's called.
Yes.
What's the name for that, and where do we look for that?
Okay, so that's a PPSR check.
PPSR.
That's right. So you go to ppsr.gov.au,
Yep.
enter the details of the car in there, and it will give you a certificate back saying what it is for $2.
When people buy used cars, do they still get warranty?
Depends where you're buying a used car from.
Really?
If you're buying that privately through online classifieds or something, nothing.
So no warranty
protections.
if you buy it off me privately on the
That's
weekend
right.
at home, but if you buy it from a car yard, is there an amount that you need to spend to get that warranty?
No, so different rules will apply, but essentially the Australian consumer law will mean that whatever you buy needs to be of a reasonable quality for a reasonable period of time.
Sounds like there's a lot to be looked at when it comes to the repairable write-offs as well, which is fantastic. The reforms that are coming out, look out for those reforms. Oh, and is there anything else that we've left out that you want people to know?
Oh, look, make sure you look at the car in person yourself.
Yep.
That's the first thing. Do a PPSR check and get a mechanical inspection. Can't stress that enough. It's not enough to just open up the bonnet and have a look. Unless you really know what you're doing, get someone in who does.
Fantastic advice from the Department of Consumer Protection. And if people want more information, you've got a phone line and you've also got a website they can go to. Look at camera. Oh, you can actually do this camera here, actually.
This one here?
Yes, do it to this one.
Okay, yeah. Hit us up at consumerprotection.wa.gov.au. There's a whole lot of information there. You can also get the checklist. And if you have any problems or whatever, give us a call. So 1300 30 40 54.
All those details are on the screen, and don't forget the checklist. You can get that off the website as well, and it's a very helpful piece of information as well.
That is.
Owen, you did well for the first one.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to having you back again.
Pleasure being on.
Owen Kelly from the Department of Consumer Protection here in WA, looking after consumers, and we are all that, especially in buying cars. Think before you buy, test drive the car, check it out, make sure nobody else owns a part of that car, and make sure the car's reliable. And at least if you're not sure, call Consumer Protection. Thank you, Owen. We'll take a break. More of The Couch coming up. We're talking hula hoops after the break. See you then. Well, welcome back to The Couch. Nice to have your company this afternoon. We have got a very special guest today. Her name is Jenny Hoop. Now, she's won, not one, not two, but 3 of these amazing Guinness World Records for hula hooping at different times. Thousands of hours on this. To talk about that and a lot of the fundraising events that are coming up here in Perth with Jenny Hoops, we've got our very own record breaker, Nisha Seth. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Fred, and this is really putting my physical and psychological fitness to the test. Thank you so much for joining us at Jenny Hoops.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Jenny, Telethon weekend is coming up, and we have Hoops for Telethon, which is an event you're running. We'll talk about that shortly, but as Fred said, you are a Guinness World Book record holder, so you've got 3. Can you tell us about those?
Absolutely. So I moved to the US in 2019, and it's land of opportunity, and I've always wanted to get a Guinness World Record, and so I decided to go for it. So for the longest marathon hula hooping, the old record was 75 hours, and it was untouched for 10 years.
Wow.
And so then I decided to go for it for 100 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty much. So I set up at a bar for 4 days and brought in a little mattress and TV and went for it.
What a way to burn calories. So tell us about the second one, because that wasn't just hula hooping, like it was doing things while you're hula hooping.
Yeah, after the pandemic, I had some time to get back into shape, and I thought about the montage from Rocky running up and down the stairs. And so I had to go with a hula hoop, and I thought this one has to be it.
Yeah.
And so the old record was 775, and then I decided to crack it at 10,241. And so that took about 4.5 hours just running up and down the stairs with like a little clicker in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
But it was exhilarating because it was so much more physical than the 100 hours, but I didn't have crazy sleep deprivation and all that. So it was much less painful.
Wow. And now the third one is even heightened. Tell us about that one.
So this one's unusual. It was for the most hula hoops spun while upside down, and no one has ever broken the record for some reason. And so I went for it, and I broke the record with 23 hula hoops.
Oh my goodness.
And I basically ordered them online and then went on the monkey bars at my gym, week after week, and slowly added more and more hula hoops until eventually I got it. And so at some point, someone with bigger hands or a longer torso is going to take it. And so that's my only real risk. I think the other records, I don't know if anyone's going to go for them anytime soon.
Well, to be a Guinness World Record holder, you must have some ambition, right? Did you just decide all of a sudden this is what I want to do? How did it come about?
Well, I've always been interested in endurance activities, so I wasn't good at sport growing up, but mid-20s I got into cycling, like super long distance cycling, and I realised that these challenges seem really big when you say them out loud, but they're actually just lots of teeny tiny steps.
Yeah.
And as you sort of build up on them, it sort of builds this momentum as you see yourself achieve more and more and get stronger.
Yeah.
And then once I got the hang of it, it kind of became addictive. And so it's not something that I would recommend to everybody to do because it is very, very taxing. But from a personal experience, I just really enjoyed it. It was just something that I've never experienced before.
Beautiful. And so Hoops for Telethon, tell us about the event and the passion behind it for you.
Absolutely. So my father unfortunately passed away from leukemia earlier this year. And so that's why I had to come back to Perth. And then going through that experience, the strain that it takes on your family and just the not knowing what's going on, I wanted to do something to help other families in that similar situation. And so Telethon just jumped to my mind. It's the biggest fundraising event that we have.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I think will brighten some people's lives and just bring something joyful that we kind of think about when we were kids, but that we can still do this when we're adults. And we still get the hang of it. It's like riding a bicycle.
And we lose playfulness, don't we, when we get older? So it's really important to keep doing these things. So tell us about the event. I know it's at RAC Arena, but what will it look like?
So Telethon has a section called Challenge Yourself, where they have different people doing challenges and inviting other people to come in and join. And
Bit like what I'm doing now.
Pretty much. So I'll be there with stacks of hula hoops of all different shapes and sizes and teaching anybody who wants to learn how to hoop and just spreading that joy. And so it'll be on at RAC Arena from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the 22nd of October.
Beautiful. And what are the benefits of hula hooping, other than I can feel it right now, but I'm sure it's going to help me get my summer bod? Yeah.
I would say it's definitely the core strength. Once you get the hang of it, other exercises seem really, really easy by comparison. Okay. But most of all, it's just a stress reliever. So I would do this while I was watching TV, and it kind of just feels like a gentle massage. Sometimes it's really, really hectic. Yeah. But when you get into a nice flow, you can just let your problems go out the window, and it's just a really relaxing way to wind down.
As well.
Yeah. Especially when I was doing it for so long, you sort of have to get into that zone and sort of just like picture yourself in like a lovely field or something.
Nice visualization. So, Jenny, is there a record for doing it in high heels? Because I think, to Fred's point, I could maybe have a record.
There absolutely should be. I think whenever I see anyone with stilettos or heels do anything, it just feels like it's 100 times harder. Yeah. And so I have to give you credit for that one.
Thank you so much. So tell us the event, so the date again, just for the audience, because Telethon is such a beautiful and a helpful event. Tell us about what you'll be doing again, just quickly to the camera.
So Telethon weekend will be on the last... Telethon weekend. It'll be on Sunday, the 22nd of October for me, where I'll be doing...
Yeah, no, that's fine. You're right.
Okay.
Hoops for Telethon. Yeah.
Hoops for Telethon. So on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, I'll be at RAC Arena, and I'll be hooping from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And anyone who wants to learn or join in, you can come along and I'll have hoops ready for you.
Wonderful. Jenny, thank you so much, and well done on your Guinness World Record. That's phenomenal. And where do we find out more about you, quickly?
Yeah, so you can go onto my website, jennyhoops100.com, where I talk about all the different things that I've done with hula hooping and share my story with you.
Beautiful, and I'll be going to some of your classes. This is already making a difference. Thank you so much, Jenny, and all the best for the weekend, and well done for earning those, for putting the effort behind what's going to be a really meaningful event. Sorry, I'm passing out. The oxygen's left my brain. If you missed any of that, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Nisha. I'm just trying to find a way that I can hula hoop with my neck. But I don't know if I can do that and still stand up or lie down. But thank you very much, Jenny Hoops. Wonderful. Catch her at Telethon. Please support her. She's doing great things for charity. Nisha will win a Guinness Book of Record award soon. We'll take a break. More of The Couch coming up. The bitching team's coming up right after the break. Maybe we can hula hoop there. I'm going to try it again.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. Now something completely different. The 2023 United Nations Sustainability Awards have just been held. We've got some winners and some participants. Talking to them today is our very own Nisha Seth. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Fred. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN are really important, and we know that education awareness around these goals are as important, obviously. So on The Couch, we do have the organiser of the SDG WA Challenge here in Western Australia, Donella from the University of Western Australia. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
And you're the Associate Professor at the School of Business, is that right?
I am, and I'm also what's called the UN Prime Director, Principles of Responsible Management Education, a bit of a mouthful. And in fact, the SDG Challenge falls under the Prime portfolio at the 4 public universities. So it's a collaboration between the 4 universities, ECU, UWA, Curtin and Murdoch. And it provides students with the opportunity to get to know one of the SDGs really well, but to also think creatively and innovatively to develop a response to a particular problem that's been set for the SDGs. So it's been going for 5 years, and it's a great activity. This year we had 5 teams, our colleagues here being one of our teams.
Welcome to The Couch too. So we've got Nadia and Bianca. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and we have often teams that also students who come in internationally to be part of the challenge, and they work over 4 weeks to develop this idea, this new idea about what can be done in terms of a response to one of the SDGs. So
Fantastic. And what we love is it's youth empowered, right? And we have Millennium Kids, for example, on The Couch quite often, and they share how important it is to collaborate on sustainable development goals. Can you tell us a little bit about, there's diversity amongst the universities being involved, but what's it like in terms of the diversity of the students involved?
Oh, huge, huge. I mean, we have students from all over the world, really, and particularly our region in this Asia-Pacific area. But we have 4 universities. You're talking about 4 big universities, most with overseas campuses. So we have students who come in from North, South, East Asia, from Europe, in terms of being part of the challenge. So
and the virtual nature this year, given everything we've been experiencing, has really allowed that, hasn't it?
Very much so. And that's why we're committed to staying virtually in some ways, because it does enable people to be able to join without having to be physically present. And that's a great opportunity and advantage.
Fantastic. And this year, so proud to say, the United Nations Association of Australia Young Professionals Network were involved in mentoring and judging, is that right?
Very much so. A cornerstone of the challenge is industry mentoring and connection with industry. And as you say, this year, the UNAAYP WA, very involved in judging, in mentoring and providing advice to the teams about their ideas and the possibilities of their ideas. And that was great to have.
Fantastic. So the judging's happened and the winners were announced, and we do have 2 members of the winning team here today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I guess the audience are wondering, what was the winning project? So maybe Nadia, you can talk us through what the winning project was.
Absolutely. So the project is an agrivoltaic farm in Collie, which is a farm with solar panels overhead. And the aim is to tackle two problems in Collie. One is this transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy, and the second is the lack of agricultural land. And because this farm circulates around the idea of social enterprise, the aim is to organize. To operate this farm by young adults for the greater community, and that the community members are able to gain ownership of the solar panels instead of a private company. And accompanying this farm is a lodge with a set of cabins for tourists and temporary workers.
Brilliant.
And these two facilities will come together to represent Collie as from transitioning from a coal town to a town with sustainable green initiatives.
Yeah, so that clean energy, and it's important also in your, and it's a very comprehensive proposal and a lot of work voluntarily, mind you say, the students put into this process to engage with stakeholders as well. So Bianca, what was it like kind of engaging in the project and particularly identifying the stakeholders? What did you need to do?
We've decided to do this project as a collaboration with the local TAFE in Collie as part of their refurbishment that they're already undertaking, and to use it as an opportunity for the young people learning at the TAFE to develop skills and competencies to aid them transitioning into the world of work.
Yeah, and you mentioned the social enterprise element, so it is important that it sustains and goes around itself and the competencies transfer. So very well thought out project. So in terms of being involved, ladies, what was that like? Because it is a lot of extra work on top of everything that you do. Just tell us what's the benefit of being involved in the SDG WA Challenge? And either of you can answer this, or both of you.
Yes, of course. Creativity and innovation are always at the heart of what we do. So especially me, who used to study architecture, I'm also able to apply the similar skills to solve real-world issues. And by my particular interest in the decent work and economic growth, it comes from the fact that more and more people are struggling to find a secure job, especially during the COVID pandemic, where the economy is greatly impacted across many industries. Yeah. So I feel it's really crucial to apply those skills and consider this goal to help people find the right jobs and services and contribute to the greater economy. And by us teaming up for this challenge, we are able to see how different people from different areas of interest come together and share their skills and qualities to achieve one common outcome with holistic impact.
And your team is very diverse, right? So talk to us about your other team members and where they're from, and then where you're from a cultural perspective as well. So maybe Bianca yourself, where are you from?
Yes, so I'm just from Perth, Australia.
Oh, not just from Perth. Great. Yeah. What about yourself, Nadja?
Yes, I'm from Indonesia.
Beautiful. And your other team members?
We have Bianca from Norway and also Daichi from Japan.
Beautiful. And what was that like, diversity, having, 4 different cultures on the team?
I feel like it added to the diversity added to the different perspectives that people were able to bring to the different backgrounds, having different ideas on how to tackle the project and different expertise as well that we could work with.
Fantastic. And this is the last but not the least important question, but where to next, guys?
Well, that's an interesting question. So if the local government approves of our design proposal, we'll like to see it go through the development and construction phase, and we can get involved where necessary. Like, for example, I'll be more than happy to prepare a set of drawings for construction, and once it's completed, we would like to see the young adults and the greater community benefit from a wider range of jobs and a cleaner environment. And that is when we know our hard work is being paid off. And it also gives me a motivation to design more projects like this in the future, designing spaces that help to improve the society and environment for good.
That's so fantastic. And we know we've got 17 SDGs, so and a lot of them are quite interdependent. But when you hear young people speaking about being actively involved, it is very inspiring. Danella, where do we find out more about the SDG WA Challenge, or even just to, make contact with you to ask questions?
We have a site on Facebook, the SDG Challenge WA site on Facebook. And also, though, if you would like to know more, you can certainly find me at the UWA repository. I've got a fairly distinctive name. And you're very welcome to email me, and I can give you more information about the SDG Challenge going forward. Thank you. Wonderful.
Well, Danella, Nadia and Bianca, thank you so much for coming on the couch today. And I'm sure this is one of many trips back to the couch. We love promoting youth-empowered engagement. And all the best for those next steps. And well done to the whole team for winning.
Thank you.
And to all the participants, just engaging's good, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
A lot of work.
Yeah, thank you.
So, of course, if you've missed any of that, you can go to our Facebook page, The Couch, or thecouch.com.au. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nisha. Thank you guys for being on the show, and well done with all the awards and the great work that you do with the United Nations. We're going to take a break. Our team is back after the break for another Bitchin' segment. Don't miss it. We'll catch you after the break. Welcome back to the couch. It's time for some bitchin', and we've got the bitches on the couch today. Let me introduce them: Ted Bull, Michaela Carr, and Nat Foster. Welcome back, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the couch. Ted, nice to see you back.
Look, it's lovely. I didn't know I was away.
You.
Have I gone away?
With the fairies.
You're away. No, sorry,
and you were late today, but anyway.
Am I really? Is Bethany out there to pick me up?
Are you talking
about bingo tonight?
Is Bethany the old age home? The bus is out there. Welcome back.
Is just over there.
You're talking about gambling today.
Well, yes. Well, actually, footy season's on. I'm a couch potato. I'm watching the footy, and what comes up? Ad after ad after ad for bloody gambling.
Yep.
But what gets me? It's not about a house, a car, a swimming pool. It's about mates. Being with your mates, your chums, your blokes. Don't need women. You need an American basketballer there to take the piss out of because you're an Aussie and you're a real bloke. And you know they're real blokes because you know none of them use deodorants. You just know that, don't you? And then at the end of this $1,000 extravaganza, this black and white thing comes up saying, and could I have the camera right at my face? Chances are you are going to lose. But, I mean, they go, and just out of interest.
Have you had your meds today?
Probably
the bloke
twice.
and Bethany's got them for me.
Probably twice, I'd say.
Just been to the TAB to cash in.
I've been to the TAB.
With his mates.
I get it that you're anti something to do with gambling.
I'm not anti. I'm all for it. But when I see $25 billion in 2019...
That's a lot of money.
Look, I know it employs over 200,000 people. Here in WA, we have the least amount of money raised from gambling.
Good.
And I just... And also, gambling could be banned on television within advertising in 3 years, and I think it's like smoking. I mean, I know I'm laughing and joking, but gee, I know someone who's really caught up in the mire of gambling, and it's terrible. It really, really is.
It's a lot of money every year people spend on gambling, and it ruins their lives. It ruins their families, their marriages, their family, their kids.
And this whole thing about, hey, and I the mates, like, if you're not with your mates punting, then you're a dag. You're not part of the group.
What do you reckon, Michaela? What's your view on that one?
I think the advertisers got it wrong, because it's not about being with your mates or anything like that. It's telling these people that there's help if they need it.
Yeah,
so you go to the casino. Apparently, there's a room there that's something like the addicts room.
Really?
Why would you call it that? Because you wouldn't want to walk through it. Because straight away you'd hit the door and go, I'm going to go straight past there.
Like strippers and drinks and stuff, because that sounds like more fun than
poker machines.
I reckon there'd be an FPOS machine and an FPOS machine, so you can pay.
Let me swipe that.
So, you guys aren't against gambling. Now, what did you think?
I don't gamble. When I go to Crown, they go, "Oh, here she is again," and I'll have like $20. That's my limit, $20, and I go on the 20-cent machine. But yeah, it is a big problem in our society. People are always thinking that next time I'm going to win big.
I'm not against it because I do take lotto tickets, but I went to Las Vegas, and you know how much I spent gambling? Nothing.
Yeah.
I just wandered around.
It's more about entertainment.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing.
You stole a lot of money though, didn't you? From old people. Was that you?
All right. Well, we've got
older than me.
Michaela, you're talking about parking fees because obviously you pay big fees where you park in the city.
Oh, look, I do, but I was visiting Fremantle recently and I was working because I'm a celebrant. So I was doing a wedding, which meant I had a lot of gear to get out of my car. So the nearest place to the venue was the Roundhouse. You know, typical popular tourist precinct. $13.60 per hour.
Wow.
An
to
hour?
park there. Now, if Fremantle Council wants to encourage people to see their tourist facilities,
Free.
of course, the Maritime Museum's just nearby and it's all about Australia too at the moment.
Wow.
People will not go and pay that amount of money.
No, they can't
People want to
afford it.
take their children to Freo and go and have fish and chips and that kind of thing. That is ridiculous.
So should it be free? Because I think any of those areas
But
where
it's a
it's
money
tourist.
raiser.
But
Fred,
why
you
not
know?
make it free on a Sunday?
Yeah, correct.
And have
Yes.
one day of the week
Yeah,
where
week.
people can go down with their families.
I think in the city, they're always saying the declining revenue, businesses not making any money. The reason is I can go to Morley or Joondalup or Ellenbrook and park in their free car park and do my shopping there.
Yep.
So if you want to encourage people to come into the city or those tourist areas where the suburbs where they need people to keep promoting the businesses, you need to make it free
See,
or
the only
affordable.
problem is, Fred, is that someone will go and park there all day and deny someone else that opportunity. So I'm all for no charge, but a time limit.
Yes,
But if you overstay
correct.
your time...
So why not pre-order your spot? Go online,
that's a good idea.
order your particular bay. You know where it is. It's not a matter of doing circles around Freo looking for parking.
yeah.
You order your spot, you know it's there for you, and you've already allocated yourself 4 hours.
Nat, what do you think?
Well, it wouldn't have been right for you because you've got all your gear, but I suppose a lot of people would then use public transport. For me, I live up near Geraldton, so it would take me 16 16 to get
Well,
down.
see, where I use public transport all the time.
Well,
or
yeah.
Bethany.
Well,
The bus doesn't pick you
Bethany
up
bus.
anymore?
Bethany's very good to you.
Here's my senior car.
I think
it's there now.
I also think Christmas time coming up in a couple of months, we've got Christmas shopping and that type of thing. We should be encouraging free for the whole 2-3 months leading up to. Surely a rich country like Australia, WA with all the revenue that we've got over here, I'm pretty sure we can do without raising money from parking. There's other ways. If businesses are doing better, I would rather charge a levy to a business than charge it to the people coming into the
Could you also
precinct.
not have like some sort of business parking for people like you're a celebrant, so you need to be able to access these areas? If you are a business person like a courier or whatever, you should have
I
accessibility.
think the
to
cemetery
parking.
does that. They've got a spot there for the priest. but
Actually, that brings me to something else. How about these people who park in disabled bays?
Oh, don't even get me started.
I've seen a car parked in the middle of a disabled bay. No disabled, because they don't want to damage their car doors.
Can we also talk about the babies or the strollers parking?
Yes, the children, the
How do you
prams.
feel about that? Can I have a parking
I don't
space
get
for fat people that are lazy and don't just want to walk? Like, at Whitford City, you've got the whole area which
Just
is
with prams.
strollers.
Well,
Parents with prams.
Yes, so I bought a stroller and I just stuck it in the back of my car.
Well, I have a kid seat in the... Okay, I'll be honest. I have a baby seat in the back. Because we have 9 grandkids, as you know.
You're popular.
I mean, we just park there. But then
Yeah.
we also have old folks parking spots too.
No, look, I think
Well,
parking.
that's okay.
Yeah,
and
thank-
disabled, you don't go
Thank
near
you,
them.
Natalie.
I think all around Australia, most people would be saying right at this point, in Sydney, I know you're paying about $30 an hour to park in the city. It is ridiculous. Parking fees have become ridiculous. People are leaving the cities because it's cheaper to go to the suburbs. So we need to look at some way of making it so that people that go in there for business have somewhere to park and have a free parking or cheaper parking. And long-term parking needs to be cheaper as well. Nat, they want us to move on to you.
Okay.
What's your story?
Now, I need an honest answer.
Yep.
How often do you clean your towels, Fred?
I do mine every 2 weeks. Well, you mean the bath towels?
Yeah. You do them every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Every week.
Every week?
Once a week.
Once a week? Once a week. We should... Yeah, so...
So Fred's actually take themselves to the laundry.
Yes, they go walkie with all his dead skin cells. Lovely, let's clone Fred.
There's less off me these days. I don't use as many towels.
Unless he's wearing it, and that's all after the shower. Go straight to the washing
John, I
machine.
can't concentrate if I'm thinking about Fred naked.
I'm now thinking of Bubbles. You know Bubbles? Darling.
Yeah, and okay, so I'm English, and we only sort of bathe once every so often because of the water and stuff. No, I'm actually at 2 a day. I like to scrub, get my Brillo pad and everything out.
Morning and night.
So, I love showering and stuff, and I love a nice bath as well. So this is research that's been done in the UK. Almost 2 million people, that's 4 or 5% of the UK population, only wash their bath towels, get this ready, once a year.
Oh, no.
Once a year. And these are not just university students. Okay, once a year.
That.
You should be, because 94 million counts of bacteria are on your towels every week. 94 million. So you've got like 180 odd. You dirty man. So 94 after a week. Yours is a fortnight. So we should be washing our towels after every 3 uses.
Well, can I suggest this? My sister and I do this now. My sister's a
You
lovely
share
old lady.
towels?
No,
You're
not
very
with my
loving family?
sister. We're close, but
They don't
not
shower
that
together.
close.
We bathed together to save water because we were in the war.
The First World War. No, we actually, and I do it myself now. After my shower, when the sun's shining, I'll go and hang my towel outside. Because you know what? I
That's a
hate
good
wet
idea.
towels.
And the sun sanitisers as
That's
well, so
true.
that's a good thing.
What about
How
people
often do we do it?
who
Once a
have a
week?
shower and they have the towel and then they just leave it on the floor? I mean, I've broken up with people over that because I can't stand it. I don't like dirty, wet towels. They've got to be hung. But 5 times as likely to be a guy that does it than a girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question for all of you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So when you're
Knickers,
in
how often do we change them?
please let's not go there. When you're in a hotel and they say, we try to save money for the environment, so put your towel on the floor if you want us to remove it.
Yes.
Do you think to yourself, woohoo, I'm not home?
I always put mine on the floor.
Do you?
I do. I let them clean them no matter what.
Because I say stuff the environment because I'm not going to be around and I don't have
do you know
children.
what?
So stuff there. I want
sort
fresh,
of-
fluffy ones.
I want to be privileged by staying in a hotel and I want to relax.
Yeah.
So even if I use it just to wipe my face, I always throw it on the floor because you know what? They're going to wash them anyway.
Yeah. And I take the soap and the shampoo and everything.
Obviously.
Can I
just go like that with my
Can I
suitcase.
thank you all because they've told me the time is up. Ted Bull, are you working on anything new? Any
I'm
theatre?
just hoping for the phone to ring. Oh, it's a driver. I'm coming.
The bus is on its way. Michaela Carr reading the news and looking after all the training at 96 FM in Perth.
Yes, indeed, I am.
And what day can we catch you reading? I know you don't do it as often.
Every day, 4, 5 and 6 in the afternoon.
96 FM. That is the voice, the beautiful voice of Michaela Carr. She's
And a
wonderful.
beautiful person.
ABC's had
And
a
then
lot
the
to do
terrible
with
voice that you hear, but you love hearing her. On Breakfast on 6OX, the classic breakfast with Nat
We should
Foster
get a Femme
and
FM
Craig
we could
Weston.
be. Yes.
And I do hear you at that time because I'm an old man.
You're up having a wee.
Look, it really has got
5:30 to
the
9
best-
every morning.
And it's all about the music, and they have a lot of fun along
Well, it's
the
all
way.
actually it's all about me on the classic breakfast 6AX. You can listen online as well. Thanks so
And don't
much.
forget DAB or the digital stuff too,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. Congratulations on your new host, Craig Weston, joining you very, very soon.
Can't
And
wait,
will it be
Craig.
Nat and Craig or Craig and Nat?
No, I think they're putting me first. They finally
time.
decided I'm going.
It's about
I'm the star.
But you're a woman.
Well,
And
I
it
know,
should
but
be-
I've had the operation.
And it should be the classic breakfast with Nat and Craig. Welcome. Thank you
put
very
that
much for
forward.
being here today. That is
stuff.
it for the show today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the program. We try and have a little bit of fun along the way. Now, a man that has serenaded our guest relations lady for the whole day. He's waited there all day. I hope he hasn't eaten my cat cake that Nisha made for me. But he's the big Polynesian singer, Jacob Pehema. He's going to perform a beautiful song for us now. It's called Wicked Game. Have a great week, Australia. We'll see you next week on The Couch. Bye-bye.
World was on fire, no one can save me but you. Strange what desire can make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you. You know, I wanna fall in love. Ain't nobody gonna break your heart, no. I wanna fall in love. Ain't nobody gonna break your heart with you. I'm with you. What a wicked game you play. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do. Make me dream of you, and what a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do. Make me dream